Hi, my name's Nik Peachey. I'm a learning technology consultant for YLT Consultants and Director of Pedagogy at Peachey Publications. One of my favourite definitions of innovation is seeing and realising there's a problem or an opportunity and being prepared to step outside your comfort zone to try and realise that opportunity and deal with that problem. Firstly, I think it is essential for us to innovate in order to professionalise young learner teaching in YLT. And I think it's very important. Our learners are facing increasing problems in their lives and in their future lives, and I think we need to be innovative in how we help them cope with those different problems. I guess part of that innovation is also thinking about how we use technology to help students deal with those problems. And that's quite a tricky one to address, especially as there are a lot of problems and challenges with using technology with young learners. I think one of the big barriers is people's ability and willingness to step outside of their comfort zone. It can be very comfortable to keep doing the same things that you've always done, especially if they've been successful for you in the past. But, as the pandemic has shown, we do have to start stepping out of our comfort zone at some times and dealing with these problems that are coming up. I think, the pandemic has also shown us in a lot of cases how unprepared we were for that, and I think that's something that we can't afford to let happen in the future. I think another big problem is, regarding comfort zone is, it's dangerous outside of that comfort zone and you can make mistakes and things can go wrong. And schools, particularly in parents, seem to have a very low tolerance for us making mistakes with their students and with their kids. I think one of the other big barriers is actually testing. And increasingly our kids are being put into tests and evaluated and having to pass tests. And it tends to be that once you introduce testing, all teaching has to lead towards successful testing. And I think that's a nightmare for innovation. I think one of the other big barriers is the schools and the institutions themselves. They have a vested interest in not seeing change happen, if you like. The whole school system or the whole of our education system is based around students coming together in a classroom. And if you start looking at doing things in other ways, then that becomes sort of problematic because that whole system could potentially fall apart. And what do you replace it with? We've seen that with the pandemic where, students have had to start learning online, but schools are desperate to get them back into the classroom. So desperate, in fact, that they've invented this thing called hybrid teaching, in order to get at least some of them back into the classroom and validate having that kind of space. Okay, in terms of innovative classroom practice, it might be nice to start with something that I don't think is an innovative classroom practice. And I think this move towards hybrid teaching is one of those things that I don't feel is particularly innovative. I think it's great that teachers have been able to cope with what's been a really difficult situation. But I think we should understand that although there is hybrid teaching, there isn't hybrid learning. Students don't learn hybridly. They are not both simultaneously in the classroom and at home at the same time. This should just be something that temporarily we do in order to cope with the difficult situation. But hybrid teaching is never going to give your student in the classroom and your students who's at home the best possible service. One area where I feel that teachers are really innovating and moving things forward in the classroom is the use of project-based learning, and I think that's a great step forward. It combines a number of soft skills, communication skills, the ability to negotiate. It can also involve using technology to collaborate, do research and problem solve.